Hey there, so today we're going to use this technique using a vanishing point and linear perspective to help us draw some 2D shapes and some 3D shapes. So to begin, we definitely want to use our ruler to help us draw the sides or the walls and the floor and the ceiling. And the way that we do this is we start with a rectangle, and this rectangle is going to be that back wall. So you kind of want to draw it pretty big. You don't want it to be too small, or you won't really have much room to draw lots of details. So make sure you're using the edges of your paper to help you draw some parallel lines. You definitely want those to be straight. Next, we're incorporating that vanishing point. So just put a dot somewhere in the middle of your rectangle, and then you can put dots at each of those corners of the rectangle you just drew to kind of help you line up the corner of the rectangle to that vanishing point. You don't really need it to match up with the corners of the paper. It won't really be accurate if you focus on that. So make sure you're just lining up the corner of the rectangle you drew to the vanishing point. So you line up your ruler where it's the edges of the ruler are touching both dots. After we do this, we're going to try and start with some 2D shapes. So I'm going to start on that wall. And you just are going to draw two vertical lines. So you want to make sure you're checking to make sure those are parallel to the sides or to the side of that paper. Otherwise, it's going to look a little wonky. And then if you think about it, one side of that poster is closer and the other side is farther away. So you would connect the corners of the poster to the vanishing point, because it's getting farther away, so it's going to look smaller on one side. Now we're drawing something that we're looking at straight on. So this is our window. When you're looking at something straight, it's going to be a rectangle or whatever shape it is. It's not going to be using that vanishing point. So you don't have to worry about the vanishing point for something that's on that back wall, because we're looking at it directly, especially 2D objects. But for the 3D objects, which I'm going to draw a desk and a mattress, you're going to make sure that it lines up with the corner where if a desk is, it always is sitting on the ground. And so you have to make sure that bottom edge runs along the ground. Sometimes I see people trying to make them look like they're like inside of the wall, and that's not usually the case. So you just would make a rectangle to begin with, and then make sure that that rectangle's bottom goes across the floor plane. So one side goes against the wall, one side goes against the floor plane, and then we're just going to connect those corners to the vanishing point. Obviously, there's another side to the desk, so we're going to have to make some parallel lines. We're almost making like a cube here. So the top of the desk is parallel on one side to the other. So if you see these two lines are parallel, and then the ones that are going vertically are parallel. They're also parallel to the wall. So I'm kind of adding in I'm erasing away anything that I wouldn't really see. So you probably wouldn't see the wall. And I added some shading too. Sometimes it's fun to kind of put some objects on top of the desk. So I'm just kind of showing you how this could be used. Make sure when you're drawing things on top of the desk that you're using the plane on the top of the desk to make it look like more 3D. That's not just like smushed up against the wall. Next, we're going to draw our bed or our mattress. And so we're really looking at the side of the mattress, which is like a long skinny rectangle. And mattresses are not just sitting right on the floor typically. So you want it to be slightly up off of the floor and also up against the wall. So I'm making sure it's up against the wall, and then again, I'm connecting those corners because we're making something 3D, so it has to look like it's getting farther away from us. So we're using that vanishing point to draw those lines. So I'm connecting those to that vanishing point, and this is really going to help it look like it's getting farther away. I'm going to show you two different ways of adding a headboard. So you can either have a headboard against that back wall, which we've talked about when you see that window, something that's kind of flat, like a headboard or a window. They're just going to be kind of like a rectangle. So you can draw that headboard like a rectangle. Now the pillows might be kind of 3D. I draw them like they're kind of coming off of the the bed and covering up part of the headboard, because they're usually like kind of puffy, right? They're not just flat like pieces of paper. All right, so I'm erasing this because I want to show you how to draw the headboard on the side. So just kind of like how we did on the poster, since it's up against that wall that's going away from us, we want to make sure that we draw those 2 vertical lines that are parallel to the wall. And then also we're using that line that's called an orthogonal line to go towards the vanishing point. So one side of the bed is closer, the other is farther away. So we want to make sure we're using that vanishing point to draw the top and the bottom. And then I'm also kind of trying to think about how the pillows might even look smaller as they go far away. So I'm adding these 3D pillows, adding some details to the bed. Anything that you're looking straight onto, like the side of the mattress, it's just a rectangle. So everything's going to be straight. Anything that's going away from you, like the top of the mattress, it looks like it's going away, is going to use that vanishing point. So you can draw 2D objects and 3D objects. You just want to make sure that you're kind of using them differently and that we're thinking about these in different ways. So always make sure you're using a ruler. Always make sure that you're using that vanishing point. And that's it. I hope you have a lot of fun making your room.